The Department of Homeland Security is currently headed by a woman that a couple years ago went viral after she released a book, and a portion of it got all over the internet, and people gained a lot of hatred for her. They were quite mad because she confessed to a variety of animal murders, notably the murder of her puppy. Keyword, puppy. This was not a full-grown dog, an old dog, or a big dog. It was a puppy. A literal puppy. She shot it, murdered it, and then told this gut-wrenching story about how she tried to hide the body from her daughter because her daughter had just come home from school right as she had just shot the dog. Maybe it was the goat. She's shot a lot of animals, and her daughter nearly saw it. She claimed that the puppy was untrainable, that it was just impossible to train, and that's why it had to die. Didn't bite, wasn't violent, I don't even know if it was shitting or pissing everywhere. It was just untrainable, so it had to die, according to her. Really good insight into the thought process and general morality of the average conservative. Like, that is just the kind of people they are. Like, oh, it's not doing what I want, I'm gonna blow its brains out with a shotgun now. Though it was a lot more brutal than just that. She's not a very good shot, even at point-blank range, so according to her story, it was like, it took several shots to kill the dog, and she was using a shotgun, if I remember right. It's a gut-wrenching story. She is an evil, evil woman. And now she is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, which under said department, ICE operates. The, why am I forgetting? International Customs Enforcement or Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency. They are expanding at a rapid rate under Trump. It's been this whole initiative of the Trump administration to invest, like, I don't know, half of all of our yearly tax dollars into ICE, expand it massively, and just the other day, Trump announced that there is now no longer an age limit to ICE. They're literally putting out posters as advertisements for people to start working at ICE, where it's like a young guy and an older guy that looks like him, and the idea is like ICE, bringing father-son bonding to a whole new level, in reference to the new elimination of the age requirement for joining ICE. And then on top of that, you might know this if you watched the South Park episode. I Googled this to find out if it's true. ICE actually is offering all these new people that they're recruiting into their organization to deport anybody they don't like, I guess. They are literally offering six-figure income to start. All of these evil chuds that are getting, like, easy jobs handed to them working at ICE are making a minimum six figures. Not even joking. That's real. That is actually real. That was not a joke in the South Park episode. Speaking of the South Park episode, this has all been really big in the news over the last week, and for those of you guys that don't know, the hit show South Park produces their episodes only a week in advance. From the concept phase to the writing to the storyboarding, animating, voicing, and scoring of the entire episode, all of it is done, including the editing and rendering and production, all in 1 week. This episode was delayed due to some Paramount stuff, so they had a little extra time to work on this one, I guess, but they're so fast in their production pipeline, and the show is so easy to produce that fast, I guess, at least episode by episode, that it allows them unparalleled topicality. 2 weeks ago's episode broke the internet by just going after Trump in the most petty way imaginable. It was blatantly and proudly childish, like schoolyard humor, just shitting on him for having a tiny penis, which is true to be fair, and a variety of other things. Well, this week's episode seemed to take a lot more of a moral stance. Last week it was like, or 2 weeks ago, it was about making Trump mad by bruising his ego. And that's obviously fun. The White House got mad about it. They put out an angry little response, but that there's a time and place for that. But now they've kept up with their trend of dunking on the right, and now they're making more of a genuine moral stance, a moral judgment of certain kinds of people in the world of politics right now. That being right-wing grifters and the people that are facilitating and supported by said right-wing grifters in our government right now. Kristi Noem being a great example, but a lot of this is all experienced through Mr. Mackey, the school guidance counselor who gets fired, doesn't have any job opportunities, and he's forced to join ICE. But through all of this, while they're giving him a lot of money, he feels empty inside because he's doing awful things, and yes, he's getting a massive paycheck out of it, but he's not doing what he believes in. He's doing awful things for easy money. And in the end, he realizes it's wrong, and they escape Mar-a-Lago. Sorry for the spoilers. But it's a very good episode, and they make a very clear moral statement that you are genuinely compromising your very integrity and everything that makes you matter as a person, more or less, everything about your identity, if you choose to chase money instead of sticking to your principles. If you choose to just advocate for things or do things that you don't truly believe in or you know are wrong just for easy money. And considering another big target of the episode was Charlie Kirk and right-wing grifter debate bros, people like, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Steven Crowder, Charlie Kirk, etc. These people who make a living off of grifting and basically pushing politics that they almost certainly know aren't accurate, aren't true, are highly questionable at the most. They all got a nut. Exactly. They all got a nut. They all got to get their nut. And so it's a commentary on the fact that these grifters are genuinely in the wrong. And it takes much more of a moral stance than last week or 2 weeks ago's episode did. And I loved it. Very good episode. The main focus, though, of course, was Kristi Noem. Though no, I cannot forget to show you guys the glory that is JD Vance. JD Vance in this South Park episode. They did him so dirty, bro. They did him so dirty, bro.
What is his fantasy, boss?
Oh, man. I genuinely can't tell if they did anything to his face in this image. Like, I can't tell if that's just a raw cutout of his face or not, or if they, like, photoshopped his cheeks to be chubbier or not. But they did him real dirty, because he looks like such a creature here. And the voice they have him do is so perfect, and the way his lips move in the episode is so, like, disturbing. Oh, it's so good. They leaned into that meme. Yeah. It's a reference to an old-ass TV show. Anyway, though, very funny stuff. They are not yielding on the attacks on Trump, it seems. Will this be the next season? Or 2 seasons worth of South Park content? Sort of like a statement of correction for the overcorrection they consider the recent shift to the right that society has experienced to be. I don't know how long they're going to stick with it for. I feel like it would be weird if they didn't have, like, some kind of grand finale to the Trump dunking arc. There might be some episodes that take a break from it or find a way to explore other ideas while also weaving in anti-Trump stuff. I don't know how they're going to handle it. I don't know if we're going to get another anti-Trump episode next week or if they're going to go back to programming as usual. Who knows? But while they're dunking on the conservatives, and the conservatives are freaking out because this used to be the show, they were always saying, just destroyed the left. Now they're the ones crying about South Park hurting their feelings, and I'm just soaking it all up. The reaction from Kristi Noem, of course, as you can imagine, has been quite delicious. So let's learn about it. Let's hear about it. Let's find out how she responded. I know, by the way. I've been a little spoiled. The old show is Fantasy Island. He's playing a character, or JD Vance is a parody of a character in that show called, like, Tattoo.
The new head of Paramount telling CNN he is standing by South Park after another utterly scathing episode about the Trump administration. The latest episode hitting a nerve, prompting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to publicly respond.
It's so accurate, though, because she's had so much plastic surgery. Like, I'm sure they'll show one of those, like, close-up photos of Kristi Noem where it's, like, super zoomed in on her face with one of those really high-quality, expensive news cameras. But, dude, like, her skin texture, there's skin textures in the original Oblivion that look more real than her skin.
To South Park's unflattering portrayal of her. Here she is with Glenn Beck.
Yeah, it never ends, but it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and
I love how every conservative that South Park has targeted since the start of this season has had to go somewhere to Hugbox and talk about how immature and lazy and fourth-rate and irrelevant South Park's attacks on them are. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is pointing and laughing at them. It's so wild to see public opinion in the course of a day, overnight, flip on these political figures. Like, to see the negativity for Trump go from, like, man, people are pretty mad about the Epstein files to, damn, I've never seen more people talking about what a retard Trump is or how he's got such a tiny cock than after that South Park episode. Like, they've actually ignited some real hate and passionate hate in people for Trump. And now I'm starting to see the same thing for Kristi Noem, and it really was an overnight phenomenon just because of the South Park episode. It's bizarre how, despite blatantly and obviously being a fictional show, South Park's depiction of celebrities sticks. Like, it feels like when South Park depicts a celebrity, a lot of people almost subconsciously make that depiction part of their opinion of that celebrity without even realizing it. I've noticed, like it, because the references and the jokes they make about these celebrities or public figures, like, will burrow into your head. And now I feel like if you've ever seen the episode, when you imagine Barbra Streisand, you can't not imagine Mecha Barbra Streisand and how that one time she destroyed a small town in Colorado. But then I remember, wait, that was just a South Park episode. So, like, it's wild how South Park has that power on people, or power over people.
the extremists do that. If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just pick something petty like that.
They did criticize her job, but South Park will also never shy away from, like, childish humor like, you're ugly. If you are a funny-looking person, and make no mistake, Kristi Noem is a funny-looking person, then South Park is going to make jokes about your appearance at your expense. It's the childish humor that is on brand for the show.
South Park, which has not let up on its brutal criticism of Trump week after week, is the #1 streamed show in the United States right now. The number one streamed show.
Dude, and the White House keeps calling South Park irrelevant. And not just irrelevant for quote-unquote the last 20 years. South Park, that would mean South Park stopped being irrelevant after like 4 or 5 years of being on TV. But on top of that, like, the most iconic episodes of all time have been in the last 20 years. The show's at its all-time peak. It's like, it's literally, they resorted to rice gum levels of brain-dead self-defense of, you're irrelevant, we're in power, and we're famous and popular, and you're not. Only the thing they're calling irrelevant might be more relevant than them. Yeah, South Park never really de-peaked, but it's had some bumpy eras where people were like, South Park's not as good as it used to be, and then there was like, oh shit, South Park's good again. That was years ago now, so South Park's had a pretty good reputation in the modern era, but it had a slump. A lot of long-running animated adult shows have slumps, at the very least. Even The Simpsons had a very long slump and has recently come out of it. Recent Simpsons, like the last season or two, has actually been really good. They've gotten super experimental with the show, which I quite like. I like the idea of them saying, fuck it, we've been doing this for so long, let's just really go outside the box with it. Yeah, Simpsons is never going to end, KGB. Anyway, back to it.
Show. So people are watching this. And that is something the White House, which tried to dismiss the show as irrelevant and saying no one watched it, which of course is factually inaccurate, they don't want to hear it. Brian Stelter is out front.
Hey, Satan! Meet the new face of
Yeah.
Homeland Security.
Whoa! Oh my God! I just want to go. This place is gross.
Oh, no, we didn't get the clip of JD Vance saying,
Hey, boss, do you want me to put the baby oil on Satan's asshole?
I fucking love their depiction of JD Vance. It's so good. Dude, from now on, anytime I have to, like, say a quote from JD Vance, I'm doing that voice. It's too perfect. He's such a little goblin. He really is just Trump's little minion, his little mini-me.
Insulting Mar-a-Lago, Trump's manhood, VP JD Vance, and this week, reserving most of its scorn for...
Welcome to the team, recruits. I'm Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security.
the show drawing from a real-life scandal.
A few years ago, I had to put my puppy down by shooting it in the face. Because sometimes doing what's important means doing what's hard.
Turning dog deaths into a theme of the episode.
Mr. Mackey?
She shoots a lot
When
of
Trump
dogs.
budget cuts caused the school counselor to look for a job with ICE.
All right, recruits, this is it. We're heading to a location that might be filled with illegals. Let's take these bad hombres down.
South Park emerging this summer as one of the Trump administration's fiercest critics.
Remember, only detain the brown ones.
One reviewer saying, you can
They literally raid heaven, and Mr. Mackey is in the back of the ICE detention car asking the detained immigrants that are dead and in heaven, okay, how did you get into heaven, okay? And he's like, because I donated to charity a lot and was a nice person, I guess. And he's like, we're just asking questions, okay? I don't want to spoil the episode too much for all the good folks who are going to be coming to the watch party tonight. So I don't want to show too much more of this CNN segment because it's getting a little spoilery. They're showing a lot of clips. But what I really want to focus on is how the Trump cronies are so... Trump and his cronies are so ego-driven and so ego-inflated that even the most just childish... like, when someone calls you the kind of things that South Park calls the people they target... it should make you laugh. Like, South Park, ideally, like, their humor, I don't ever feel like has ever, well, in a few cases, has South Park's humor ever been so mean-spirited about a public figure that they couldn't realistically laugh at how they were depicted and find it genuinely funny. Unless they have, like, too much of a stick up their ass and a bit of a chip on their shoulder, right? Granted, I've never had a South Park episode made about me. Maybe I'd be real pissed about it if it happened. But, like, none of these people have enough humility or, like, enough... they're not humble enough to say, all right, okay, South Park made some pretty good jabs at me. All right, okay, it was a good episode. I got. Very few of them have that, like, emotional intelligence or even the understanding of what would be the best response. But you know who did actually? You know who did actually have a really good response and probably is going to avoid a lot of the sort of pushback or the blowback of this episode? Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk basically just took it on the chin. Charlie Kirk was just like, yeah, they got me, dude. This is how you know you've made it. I've had a South Park episode made about me. He basically acted like he was honored and hyped that a show he's watched since his childhood had made an episode about him, and that one of his favorite shows, he's appeared or been referenced in one of his favorite shows. Like, he genuinely acted flattered. Is it genuine? Probably not. He actually probably is a little butthurt. But as long as he acts like he's flattered, he's probably not going to get a lot of negative blowback from this episode. Kristi Noem, on the other hand, she did not act like a stone from which no blood can be drawn. She acted like quite the vulnerable potential victim of online harassment. So I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter and the rest of social media goes hard on Kristi Noem over the next week. And who knows what next week's episode of South Park's going to be about. It's currently being made as we speak. They are like in the studio right now working on next week's episode. Will it be about Trump again? Are they going to like crank it up even higher to try and bait a lawsuit out of the White House? We'll have to wait and see. I hope that they don't end this streak. I'm really liking the anti-Trump era of South Park. I hope it lasts at least as long as the anti-woke or anti-PC era of South Park. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment and you found it entertaining, educational, enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment if you're watching this in the future when this segment comes out as its own video. And if you did, then make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon as well. And if you're watching it right now in the present, make sure to like too. Likes and comments are totally free. It only takes a second, and it's the best way to twist YouTube's arm and force them to push my content in the algorithm. Be a liker, not a lurker. We gotta fight the good fight against conservatives, and you know how conservative rage bait content just draws out the engagement. Engagement's important. The right benefits in the realm of engagement inherently. The left needs to start fighting back. So hit that like button, comment down below, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my content and you want to support it and you want to see more. Ring the bell icon so you get notified. And if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to follow my social medias linked down below, particularly my fan Discord, where in just a few moments I will be wrapping up stream and starting a watch party in said Discord server where we're going to be doing a chill little watch party of the new South Park episode that we just talked about. We'll be doing this every week or 2 weeks, depending on what the release order is, or release schedule is, when they drop new South Park episodes. So it's going to be a blast. I hope you guys are excited. I hope to see you guys there. And with all that said, if you enjoyed and you want to support me financially, and you want to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch to the Streamlabs link down below as well if you want to support the channel further. But regardless of how you support me, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I hope that you have a good one. Now, please, I hope to see you all in my Discord server in just a few minutes, because we're about to have a big old watch party. If you're not in the server, like I said, link down below, so hop on in there. Anyway, folks, I hope you have a good one.